It's a long and difficult route up to the mountains of Panay. The mountains ascend more than 1,000 meters. There are no roads. The only way up is on foot. Only a few corners of forest remain. The rest has been logged or burned down, replaced by rice paddies, other crops, and grassy hillsides.
In general, this forest is their habitat, the home of wildlife species and biodiversity. So once it is disturbed or gone, their home will be gone as well. So it's very important to be protected.
There are still many native species in the forest. The two environmentalists are especially interested in the rafflesia. It's the world's largest flower and is very rare. It gives off a scent like rotting flesh. That draws the insects which pollinate the flower.
It's endemic here. Once it'll be gone here in the island, you can't find them in other places, in other islands in the Philippines and in the whole world. So it's very important to protect this area, especially that there are a lot of threats around this area. Threats to the biodiversity, not only in this specific species, but to the whole biodiversity as well.
The village of Cadiao is about 2 hours away on foot. The people are farmers and subsist from agriculture. Most live in wood huts. It's a simple way of life, and at first glance, it seems unchanging. But traces of last year's Typhoon Haiyan are still visible everywhere. Once, this was a small complex for visitors. The typhoon destroyed it all. Homes, a cafeteria, a small pond, all swept away. And the environmentalists find more signs of improper reforesting. Instead of using indigenous species, they planted quick-growing exotic species. They have shallow root systems and can't withstand a typhoon.
If your aim is to restore the forest, then we should use endemic, indigenous species so that it could help biodiversity, and also the protective services of the forest is there. Because if you use exotics, and after 20 years here comes a big typhoon and they will all fall down, and all the efforts of restoring is useless.
The school also took a beating. A Jamelina, which is not a native species. The heavy winds of Haiyan knocked it over onto the roof. Now the school is missing a classroom. Damage like this can be found across the entire country. There's no telling when money will come in for repairs. But first, the tree has to be removed. Reforestation is an important issue here. To make it work, the villagers need to learn more about the forest and what species are needed. The initiative is supported by the German Agency for International Cooperation, or GIZ. They developed plans for how the land around the village should be used. Whenever possible, the hillside around the village is to be planted with new trees and other native plants. The men head out in groups. They plant seedlings that they grew in their own nurseries. They've learned that it's the root system that counts. The roots are what holds the soil in place.
It's quite simple. If we plant enough trees here in the area, then it will protect us and our village. Now we know that. The roots will secure the soil on the hillside, and then we won't have as many mudslides. So planting trees helps everyone.
But reforestation doesn't bring in any extra income. The Vicenta family has specialized in growing ginger. They used to sell the ginger roots at the market, but now they turn the roots into tea. The powdered tea fetches a much better price than just the roots.
I sell a lot of the tea. I go from house to house with it. When I come back, my daughter asks me how it went, and I tell her it went very well.
The Panay initiative also shows people how to survive and better their lives without destroying the last remaining forested areas. The forest is also a habitat for animals. This is a breeding station in neighboring Malampay. A young hawk eagle is being nursed back to health. Fishermen found it down by the ocean. They think it may have been swept out by the typhoon, but its actual habitat is the forest. Today, it's headed home. After 10 more minutes, it's time. The young bird is released into freedom. Everything is carefully documented. The hawk eagle is an endangered species on the island. The young bird pays no attention. It's getting used to its refound freedom in one of the few remaining forests of Panay.